Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, let us discuss about one of the important analytical technique, that is HPLC. HPLC stands for High Performance Liquid Chromatography. By using this chromatography technique, it is possible to separate, identify and quantify each compound that is present in a solution. The mixture is separated using the basic principle of column chromatography and then identified and quantified using spectroscopy. Hope you are clear. We have already discussed about the technique of column chromatography, right? So here, when there are some 10 to 20 different compounds that are present in a solution, we are going to separate all these compounds from a mixture. At the same time, we are going to identify and quantify the compound with the help of spectroscopy. Quantify in the sense, for example, if there are 5 compounds in a solution, right? Some compounds may present with a concentration of 10% or 90% or 50%, that we don't know, right? But with the use of this HPLC technique, it is possible to identify the compound and also quantify the compound, so that we'll come to know how much amount of compound is present in a solution. Earlier we discussed that with the help of this chromatography technique, it is possible to isolate a compound in a pure form, right? I'll attach pic of my work that I have done during my PhD. What I have done is I have isolated a compound from plant source, and I just wanted to check whether that compound is in pure form or not. When I performed TLC, I got a single band, which indicates that my compound is in a pure form. But still I want to check whether it is completely pure or not by performing HPLC, because here it is possible to identify the compound and quantify the compound. So when I perform TLC, I should get a single peak. That indicates the compound is in pure form. If I get 2 chromatograms, then it indicates that my compound is contaminated with some other compound. That is the reason it is giving 2 different peaks. Now I may get 90% of this compound and 10% of this compound, which means my compound is not pure, right? Even though I perform TLC, sometimes I may not clearly see a light band, because here the concentration of the impurity is just 10%, which may not be detected with the help of TLC, but I can detect with the help of HPLC. Even the minute amount of the impurity can be easily detected with the help of this HPLC technique. If your solution contains a pure compound, then you should get a single peak with 100% purity. Then you can carry out further studies on this compound. For example, if you have isolated a compound from any of the source that you are interested in, and you are confident that your solution contains a single compound in a pure form, but we don't know whether it is in a pure form or not, that you need to check with the HPLC, but you have not carried out this technique, but you are sure that this compound is in a pure form. Now when you perform TLC, you got a single band, okay, and the concentration of the compound is around 80%. And there is a presence of another compound with a concentration of just 20% that you couldn't detect with the help of TLC. But with the appearance of single band on TLC, you might think that the sample is in a pure form and you have isolated the compound in a pure form. If you carry out further tests, for example, using this compound, if you perform any antioxidant study or antimicrobial study, now you can't exactly say that this is the only compound that is showing the antimicrobial activity or antioxidant activity. Maybe the other compound which is present along with this actual compound may exhibit antimicrobial activity. So for any kind of test, first you need to isolate the compound in a pure form. Then you can clearly say that so and so compound is having an antimicrobial activity or antioxidant activity. So in order to check the purity of a compound, you need to perform this HPLC study, where you should get a single peak with 100% purity. As I already told you that we are going to separate the compounds based on the basic principle of column chromatography. What we generally do in this column chromatography technique, we are going to use a glass columns that are packed with a stationary phase, right? And when we apply this sample, the compounds which are present in this sample will move at a different rates based on their affinity towards the stationary phase, right? So the compounds which are having the lower affinity will move fast and they will be eluted first, whereas the compounds which are having the higher affinity towards the stationary phase will move slowly and they will be eluted in the last. So this is what exactly happens with the column chromatography, right? But in case of high performance liquid chromatography, here we are going to apply high pressure of up to 400 atmospheres. In order to withstand such a high pressure, glass columns are replaced with metal columns in this high performance liquid chromatography. Simply we can say that this high performance liquid chromatography is a modified version of this column chromatography. Coming to the principle of HPLC, here the purification takes place in a separation column between the stationary phase and the mobile phase. So what is the stationary phase used here? Stationary phase is a granular material which is porous in nature. Observe the picture carefully. See, this is the HPLC column. This column is packed with stationary phase, and this stationary phase is a granular material which is porous in nature. Coming to the mobile phase, here again you need to standardize the mobile phase based on your experiment and based on the compound which you are interested in. This mobile phase can be a single solvent or a mixture of solvents. And this mobile phase or a solvent which is kept in the solvent reservoir is forced under a high pressure through this separation column. So in this separation column, there will be a stationary phase, right? And when this mobile phase is forced to pass through this column, and we are going to inject this sample from here. See the picture here. With the help of a syringe, we are going to inject this sample, and the sample may contain some 10 or 20 different compounds that we are going to separate with the help of this technique. Moreover, we are going to identify and quantify them with the help of HPLC, right? So the pump is used to force this solvent through this HPLC column, and when we inject this sample with the help of a syringe, the compounds which are present in a solution will move along with this mobile phase through this HPLC column. The individual compounds which are present in a solution will move through this column at different rates. Compounds with a higher affinity will move slowly, whereas the compounds with the lower affinity will move fast, and they will come out of the column for the first time. After they leave the column, those individual compounds will be easily detected with the help of the detector, which is going to generate an electric signal. This electric signal is passed on to the HPLC software that is present in the computer. Then a chromatogram is displayed on the screen. This chromatogram allows the identification and the quantification of different compounds that are present in a solution. Now let us discuss about the instrumentation of this HPLC. This HPLC system consists of pump, injector, column, detector, recorder, degasser and a column heater. Now let us discuss about each of them in detail. Coming to the pump, this pump is positioned in the most upper stream of the liquid chromatography system, and it generates a flow of eluent from the solvent reservoir into the system. So this mobile phase should move through the column, right? And this column is packed with a stationary phase, right? And remember one more important point here, for HPLC, you need to use HPLC grade solvents only, and those solvents are to be filled in this solvent reservoir. With the help of the pump, you are going to transfer the solvent which is present in this reservoir into the system with the application of pressure. Coming to the injector, this injector is placed next to the pump. With the help of the injector, it is possible to introduce the sample. Here we are going to separate the compounds that are present in a sample, right? So we need to introduce the sample with the help of injector. So this sample is introduced to the flow of eluent with the help of an injector. Simplest method is that we can use a syringe. With the help of the syringe, we can simply introduce the sample to the flow of eluent. The auto sampler system, or we can also call it as auto injector system, it is also used widely, which allows the repeated injections in a set scheduled timing. Simplest method is to use a syringe. With the help of syringe, we just inject the sample, or we can go with this auto sampler system. Coming to the other important one, that is column. Look at here, this is the HPLC column. These columns are made up of stainless steel. Earlier when we discussed about column chromatography, there I have mentioned that those columns are made up of glass. But here in this HPLC technique, columns which are made up of stainless steel are used, but not made up of glass. Why? Because here we are going to apply a high pressure, right? And these glass columns cannot withstand that high pressure. In order to overcome that problem, glass columns are replaced with the stainless steel columns. That is why I mentioned that this HPLC technique is a modified version of column chromatography. This HPLC column should be packed with stationary phase, right? So here the stationary phase could be either silica or polymer gels. Moreover, here the eluents which we use in this technique of HPLC varies from acidic to basic. So the HPLC columns which are made up of stainless steel are capable of tolerating the large variety of solvents. Coming to the other important one, that is detector. Here what happens in the HPLC column? The separation of compounds will take place, right? So the detector which is present over here is going to observe the separation process. The composition of the eluent is consistent when there is no analyte present. Analyte is nothing but the compound that is present in a solution, right? So here what we do, with the help of the pump, we are forcing the mobile phase to move through this column, right? At the same time, with the help of the syringe, we are going to inject the sample, right? So this sample will also move through this column. When the mobile phase starts the migration, the compounds which are present in the solution will also move along with the mobile phase, right? So now with the presence of the analyte, the composition of the mobile phase will be changed. Earlier, without the analyte, the composition of the mobile phase will be consistent. But after we introduce the sample, after the presence of the analytes in the mobile phase, there will be a change in the composition of the mobile phase. So that difference will be detected by a detector, which is going to produce an electric signal. Coming to the other one, that is recorder. Just now I told you that if there is any change in the mobile phase, that will be detected by a detector, right, in the form of an electric signal. But still we can't visualize that electric signal, right? Nowadays, computer based processors were used. There are different types of processors available. If we talk about a simple system, this simple system consists of inbuilt printer and a word processor, while those with the software that are specially designed for this HPLC system, which is not only used for data acquisition, but it also contains features like peak fitting, baseline correction, automatic concentration calculation, and molecular weight determination. When you observe the chromatogram here, you will also get the RT value. RT stands for retention time. That means when a compound comes out of the column and when it is detected, we will get the retention time. Retention time is nothing but the time taken for the identification of that particular compound. For example, if we get 2 to 3 chromatograms, then we'll get an RT value for each compound. For example, if the RT value is around 1 minute, that means this compound was identified after 1 minute. If the RT value is 2 for the other compound, then again after 2 minutes we could identify this particular compound. That is about the RT value. Coming to the degasser, here we are going to use a mobile phase to perform HPLC, right? And in this mobile phase, there may be a presence of gases. For example, oxygen. Okay, when this oxygen is present in this mobile phase, we can't see the presence of gases, right? But if these gases are present in the mobile phase, that may lead to noise and unstable baseline. To avoid this problem, the gases which are present in the mobile phase are to be removed before we go with the experiment. So this degasser uses a special polymer membrane tubing to remove gases. This polymer membrane contains smaller pores which allow the gas to pass through it. In this way, we are going to remove the gases which are present in the mobile phase. Coming to the last one, that is column heater. Here the LC separation of compounds is largely influenced by column temperature. In order to get a reproducible results, it is very important to maintain a consistent temperature. For analysis of sugars and organic acids, it is necessary to maintain a temperature of 50 to 80 degrees centigrade. So these HPLC columns are generally kept inside a column heater, or we can also call it as column oven, just to maintain a required temperature. Now let us discuss about the types of HPLC. Coming to the normal phase, here the column is packed with silica, which is polar, whereas the mobile phase used is non-polar. And this normal phase technique is especially used for water sensitive compounds, geometric isomers, cis-trans isomers and chiral compounds. Whereas coming to the second one, that is reverse phase, here the column is packed with C18, which is non-polar, and the mobile phase is water plus miscible solvent. Best example is methanol. And this reverse phase is especially used for non-polar, polar, ionizable and ionic samples. Coming to the third one, that is ion exchange. Here the column packing contains ionic groups and the mobile phase is buffer. So this method is especially used to separate cations and anions. Coming to the last one, that is size exclusion. Here the molecules diffuse into pores of a porous medium and are separated according to the pore size. The name itself indicates that the compounds are separated based on their size. This method of HPLC is universally used in different fields. Like this method can be used in the field of chemistry, biochemistry and also in pharmacy. Now let us discuss about the applications of HPLC. This method of HPLC is used in the analysis of drugs, analysis of synthetic polymers, analysis of pollutants in environmental analytics. It is used for the determination of drugs in biological matrices. Moreover, it is also used in the isolation of valuable products, product purity and quality control of industrial products and fine chemicals. It is used for water purification as well as for the separation and purification of biopolymers such as enzymes or nucleic acids, pre-concentration of trace components, ion exchange chromatography of proteins and high pH anion exchange chromatography of carbohydrates and oligosaccharides. Now let us discuss about the advantages and the limitations of HPLC. First, let us discuss about the advantages. This HPLC method is accurate and it is highly efficient. Moreover, it is versatile and extremely precise when it comes to the identification and the quantification of certain chemical compounds. Coming to the limitations, this HPLC method is costly. Here to perform this method, we are going to use HPLC grade solvents, right? So those solvents are very expensive. Moreover, HPLC does have low sensitivity for certain compounds and some compounds cannot be detected as they are irreversibly adsorbed. This HPLC technique is not suitable for the separation of volatile substances. In order to separate these compounds, it is better to go with gas chromatography technique. This is all about the high performance liquid chromatography. Soon I will come up with my next video. Thank you so much.